I'm a bad motherfucker.
So we're ready to go. Let me bring out, first up, you know where you love her. It's the miserable liberal, Steph Zamorano. Let's hear it for Steph Zamorano. No? Steph?
I'm sorry, I was snorting cocaine. Sorry, Jim.
Hunter Biden's here. Next up, you know him from Do Dissidents. Do you love him? It's Russ Dobular, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it for Russ.
Thank you, folks.
Let's hear it right now for the one and the only, the world's premier voice impressionist, Mike McRae is here. And here he is, the one and only Kurt Mexican.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Dore.
Okay, we're about 30 seconds away from starting. Should we just fucking start it, or what? Oh, Alex Jones will be here in about 10 minutes, so. He's coming in on the Zoom. How's it going, Mike? Dude impression. Hey, you were supposed to introduce me as Jeff Bridges.
I was?
Yeah.
No one told me that.
I forgot to tell you.
Okay, we'll do a rambling introduction before the thing starts live?
Yes. Okay.
Hey, you know this guy, man. He's cool. He doesn't smoke weed anymore, but he'll still hang out. You know, I've known him for a long time, man, and you can say something about him, but it'd be fucking sad, man. And but so I won't say, you can introduce him, but it would ruin it, man.
Go ahead, you can do it.
So, yeah.
Let's hear it for Mike McRae and Jeff Bridges. All right. We are officially Rumble timing, right? We're on? Okay. All right, I got a thumbs up from Roy. Fantastic. Hey, hello, Chicago. Welcome to the first Rumble time with Jimmy Dore. It's already a party. We're having a great time. We already talked to a guy with cancer. And we're here in Chicago where, according to Democrats, the violent crime is declining. We were supposed to have another guy on the panel, but he got shot on the way over. You know, the Secret Service is in town this week. They have their work cut out for them this week because when a shooting starts, they have to figure out if it's an assassination attempt or just a robbery or a carjacking or a gang war or a migrant squatter. And this week, the Democrats are going to use this week to rally around their 8th choice for president. Kamala Harris. People are still defending Biden. They're still saying that he's mentally fit because he rode a bike a couple of weeks ago.
That's not Biden. He can't ride a bike.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what they're saying. So I'm supposed to believe if you can ride a bike, you can oversee a genocide. I guess that's what I'm supposed to believe. I can't believe that Nancy Pelosi didn't put a stick in his spokes. That's what I can't believe.
Come on, man. Everyone knows here. I wasn't right. It was AI. That's what that video was. It was AI. I wasn't riding a fucking bike, man. Come on. And you know this. Jimmy, you know this. You know, Steph.
You know this. I don't know if this is true, but I heard if Biden wasn't going to drop out, that Nancy Pelosi threatened to 25th Amendment him, and she was going to switch out his doctors with Matthew Perry's doctors. I don't know if you heard that.
I started lubing up a hammer.
Matthew Perry had a great life. He packed a lot of fun into those, whatever, 35 years or whatever. I don't know how old he was.
35?
I don't know. He looked horrible. I just thought he looked bad for his age. How old was he when he died? Hey Siri, how old was... Anyway. Did you know that a lot of... Did you see this? So when Tim Walz was accepting his nomination to be vice president, he shook his wife's hand. Now, I don't want to judge somebody, but even the male boxer from the Olympics was like, hey, something's off about that guy.
Do you think he has two balls hidden above his vagina?
Even Kamala's Indian mother was saying, I could have arranged a better marriage than that. The only time you shake your wife's hand is when your divorce is final. Okay.
Jimmy, that's just how we do things in the Midwest. It's very formal with your wife. Hey, whatever, marriage or running for president, I'm second banana, all right? That's what it is.
Okay, wow, that's a great Tim Walz.
I'm working on it.
I didn't know who it was.
Nobody knows what he sounds like yet, so I can get away with fucking anything. This could be the most accurate impression you've ever fucking heard. You don't know. I can make up catchphrases. Why, perfect waltz. What? Sorry, go ahead.
So I just want to let you know that if you think the world is going crazy, I mean, I've been doing comedy a long time. I've been doing comedy since before women had dicks. And I want to show you that the world is going a little bit crazy. There's a new thing now, being fat is cool. Did you know that? Being fat. Yes. I used to be fat, and it didn't bother me to have, I looked okay in a suit coat, that's what I thought, but...
well, now you're not cool.
What's that?
Now you're not cool.
You're not cool,
no,
man.
I'm not cool anymore, but because I could see my penis again. But there are benefits to seeing your penis again. Anyway, so here's a doctor who wants to give you some info on being fat. Ready? Here we go.
Here's my hot take as a doctor. I totally agree. It is okay to be fat. We don't say that enough, but it needs to be normalized. If you are fat, that is okay. It is typically not a problem that requires immediate solving. It is not an emergency. You don't have to drop everything in the pursuit of being not fat. Erin said this.
First of all, she says we have to start normalizing it's okay to be fat. I don't know if you've looked around. It's normalized. Okay.
We don't say that enough?
I say we stop normalizing it because I stopped going to Target because I was afraid of the plus-size mannequins. They frightened me. Okay, here we go.
What
What's with the TikTok hands? What is that? There's a specific TikTok hand thing.
I don't hear. So you got more to say, Mike?
Other thing in a different video that I totally agree with as well is that it is okay to not be healthy.
Nice.
We act.
It's totally okay.
It's okay to not be healthy. It's okay if a set of stairs looks like it could kill you.
This is a good doctor, Jimmy.
It's okay to not be healthy. That's a doctor. Okay. Hey, I'm not a doctor, and apparently neither is she. But I'm pretty sure obesity is the #1 cause of diabetes. Okay, she's got more to say.
Like it is this moral failing, this cardinal sin that you deserve a scarlet letter if you are not healthy. And there's a name for that, and that's called healthism. Now don't get me wrong.
What is she a doctor of?
Yes. The birth of a new word. I saw it happen in real life. That's fucking beautiful.
You know, they say 4 out of 5 dentists recommend. She's the 5th dentist.
You don't need to brush your goddamn teeth.
She's got more to say. Here we go.
My line of work, there's a lot of people that I see that want to gain weight, lose weight, take other.
There's a lot of people who want to gain weight. Where is she a doctor? In fucking Bangladesh? Where is she a doctor? Anyway.
Measures that they think will improve their health in some way. And by all means, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you with that and be supportive of that. But a good doctor will not judge you for being fat.
Okay. A doctor's not supposed to judge you. A doctor's supposed to weigh you, okay?
Jimmy, a good doctor will not judge you for being fat, and then they'll cut up some fat lines. A good doctor. Matthew Perry's doctor was one of these kind of doctors. Yeah, man, have all the ketamine.
Rory, could you give me a little bit more on the monitors? Just a little bit more on the monitors. A little bit more on the monitors? Yeah.
Got a thumbs up.
Little bit more. Just a little.
Don't judge the monitors, Jimmy. Don't judge them.
I'm not weighing them. Okay. I think this doctor's making a killing off Ozempic. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think she's like a doctor who I don't know. Anyway.
Was this before the Paris Summer Ozempics that we just had?
Yeah, I think so. Are we ready to go to our Zoom? Not yet? Okay. He'll give me a flash when Alex is on. Okay, Alex Jones is stiffing us right now. We'll see what happens. It's okay. I have it coming. I kind of stiffed him once. Anyway. All right, here we go.
Will not judge you for being unhealthy. They will not judge the decisions that you made or the decisions that were made for you, which is the much more likely scenario that got you to the point where you are right now. We're here to help you with the changes that you want to make. And if you are someone who wants to lose weight for health purposes, and there are certain scenarios where losing weight can be health promoting, we're here to help you with.
Which ones?
There's certain circumstances, like, I don't know, all of them.
Well, but Jimmy, I'm fat because of racism, so it's different for me.
Oh, yes, that's Lizzo. I think she looks.
She fat shames her dancers, it turns out.
She fat shames her dancers.
But in fairness, if you're being fat shamed by Lizzo, shouldn't you consider the possibility that you might be too fat?
A little more on the monitor. Thank you. I hope this doesn't do this all fucking night. Anyway, here we go. Is there more to what she has to say? Let's see.
We are also here to help you if you decide to not make any changes at all.
What do I need you for? If I don't want to make any changes, why am I even talking to you? Could I just not pay you and stay home and be fat?
Now give me some goddamn amphetamines, lady.
Okay, that was it.
You know, Jimmy, I know she had this hot take, right? And I guarantee you, like, she won't judge you because you're fat, but I guarantee you her boyfriend has abs.
This is what happens when you get progressivism without economics. What is there to talk about? You just wind up telling people what they want to hear, and progress winds up being a matter of getting into increasingly bizarre agendas in order to have any agenda at all.
More monitor.
Wait, well, what do you want for a $20 doctor?
She has her office in the back of a Supercuts. So here, I wanted to show you this. This lady, some people saw this already? It sounds like some people saw this. So she's going to talk about play dates with her kids. And, well, buckle up.
We normalize sending the other family money for play dates. So recently, my daughter had a friend over, and I asked her mom for money, and this is how it went. So after the play date, I texted her mom and I said, thanks for letting Jamie play today. Please help out with your share of the expenses for the play date, totaling $15 via Venmo. Let's do it again sometime.
So she wanted her friend to pay $15 because she hosted her kid at a play date. And I don't know, can you imagine needing $15 this bad and not being addicted to crack?
Wait, is this like when is this like the friend experience? Like, you're pimping your kid for friend dates with kids?
So here we go, watch this.
Hey, don't pay me, pay the kid.
Because I can't keep doing these play dates if it's so expensive. And she said, expenses? And I said, yeah, she used supplies and food while she was here. And this way we can do this more often without a monetary obligation on just one party, right? Makes sense. Now, she didn't say much, but she did say what supplies. And of course I wrote them down. There was chalk, applesauce, fruit.
Chalk!
Chalk, applesauce.
$1 for chalk? That's a lifetime supply of chalk.
She sat on the couch, so that's wear and tear.
She sat on the couch. She charged her $1 for sitting on the couch.
Wear and tear.
What is that J.D. Vance's kid coming over? Because J.D. Vance fucks couches. That's the joke there. Hang on, there's more.
She broke a toy. She had 3 juice boxes. She went to the bathroom. She had yogurt. Then she actually sent the money, and I sent her a message thanking her for it, of course. She didn't say anything else, but I said, this will make it.
First of all, she had 3 juice boxes and 3 bathroom trips. Shouldn't the bathroom trip come free with the price of a juice box?
Goddamn right, Jay.
You counted how many times? You counted bathroom trips?
Oh my God.
Here's my invoice.
1, 2.
Here's my invoice for a play date is a sad way to say my OnlyFans is not getting subscribers. Hey, before we set an exact date, how much can you put down? Hey, no problem. How much would it be for Jamie to tell you to go fuck yourself? How about that?
Where do they live? In the wasteland from Mad Max?
Hey, Jamie, are you ready for your play date? Now remember, stand the whole time you're there, don't touch anything, and piss your pants.
No, that's wear and tear on the couch, Jimmy. That'll cost more. That's a $30 charge.
When I send my son on play dates, I always give him $10. Say, son, this is your piss money. It's only polite to give it to your host. And tip the bathroom attendant, I guess, that's in their house.
I need a little more on the monitor. Does that sound crazy that I keep asking for more monitor? It's because I can't, it's hard for me to understand. I need more
More cowbell.
That'll be $3. Start charging him for all these requests.
Now, I want to remind people that it wasn't too long ago that people didn't think, they thought Andrew Cuomo was going to be the next Democratic nominee. Remember that? During COVID, they gave him an Emmy. They wanted him to be president. You remember that?
Look at his godfather of abortion scarf. What are you? Oh, Don Abortion.
I do, Jimmy. I remember that very well. I was going to be the next president of the United States, but someone else had other plans.
So he gave this speech, and this is one of the most pandering, unbelievable. Well, I'll just play it for you, and let's enjoy it.
And that as a New Yorker, I am a Muslim. And as a New Yorker, I am Jewish. And as a New Yorker, I am a refugee.
Come on.
And as a New Yorker, I am black.
Oh, no!
Yeah!
You can't fucking say you're black. You cannot do that as a rich white guy of privilege your whole life. The son of a governor. I am black. No, you can't say that.
He's a black refugee, Jimmy. It's different. He's a black Jewish refugee, like Whoopi Goldberg.
You can identify as cloud gendered, but you cannot identify as black. That's over the line.
What's the next thing you're gonna do? You're gonna tell me you're gay?
New Yorker, I am gay.
All right.
Yeah.
I am gay and I like to grab tits and ass. What is so hard about this to understand?
And as a New Yorker, I like killing the elderly.
As a New Yorker, you know, secretary walks in, she got a nice caboose. I like to grab it. Who doesn't, eh? Come on, forget about it.
And as a New Yorker, I am poor.
All right.
That's fair. That is fair.
As a New Yorker, I am a bullshitter.
Listen, your money doesn't go a long way in New York. I can tell you that.
And as a New Yorker, I am homeless.
That's true also.
As a New Yorker, I am poor and homeless because my governor cut Medicaid funding right before a pandemic.
No, I'm homeless because I got kicked out of the governor's mansion.
And as a New Yorker, I am an elderly person that I killed.
As a New Yorker, I stand on my yacht flipping off poor people. Fuck you! Okay, that's enough of that shit.
That pink scarf really added a lot of gravitas to it, though.
You know, now it's time to say goodbye to Joe Biden.
Which one?
And let's remember, he can sum up America. Here, Joe Biden's going to sum up America.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Yep.
And you know what, Jimmy? When you look at Kamala Harris is looking at Joe Biden going, keep it up, old man.
I think those two women look like they're covering their vaginas.
The guy's a sniffer. We know that.
He's a sniffer.
Look.
They read Ashley's diary.
If you really think about what he said, it's kind of right.
But it's time to turn the page, and now it's time to say hello to our new nominee, Kamala Harris. And here's Here's what she usually sounds like.
You know, when we talk about our children, I know for this group, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
Now, I knew everybody in this theater here would enjoy that clip tonight, in the theater here tonight.
Jimmy, I can see why Jeff Bridges likes her.
I mean, she's cool, man. I mean, I'm a white guy for Kamala. I mean, I'm stoned. I don't know what's fucking going on, man. And she seems like, you know, she's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, Jimmy, they're the children of our community until I throw them all in jail.
So she went from being, even NBC News poll said this was from, this was like from 2023. That was in 2023. She hits a record low for vice president net favorability. Even Jimmy Kimmel, the cock of the establishment that he is, even he said so. Watch this.
Kamala Harris's approval rating is now at 28%, which is an historic low for any modern vice president.
28%, by the way, is the USDA daily absolute maximum amount of Kamala Harris allowed. She gets lower rating than Jimmy Kimmel's COVID beard. And he's saying that in church. Okay. And you remember when they wanted to kick her out? They wanted to, if they were saying, this is from Slate magazine in 2022. If Biden runs again, he should pick a new, she wasn't even good enough to be VP twice. She was the most unpopular vice president in the history of vice presidents, and all I can say is congratulations on breaking the previous low record for unpopularity. Finally, that was a trophy she actually earned.
I think only Jared from Subway has polled as a less favorable possible candidate.
Exactly, man. Why do you think I picked her, man? I picked her because no one wanted to replace me, and then now what fucking happened? I don't understand. I picked her because she was the worst possible. What the fuck? I mean, and now they made me step aside. I mean, fuck you. You gotta be kidding me, man. You gotta be kidding me.
Even Politico said columnists called for Biden to drop Harris, pick a new running mate. That was in September of 2023. The New York Magazine said the case for Biden to drop Kamala Harris in September of 2023. How the fuck did they not get rid of, but not only did they not drop her as vice president, she's now going to be the president for the Democrat. Well, here's...
This is my favorite.
So this is Frank Luntz. So you know Frank Luntz, he's the pollster, and he's on MSNBC or CNBC, and he's going to tell you why they didn't get rid of her. Ready?
Do you believe the vice president steps into that role and that the Democrats ultimately support her in that position, or do you think we're talking about a completely different team?
Once again, who's going to step up? I can name you half a dozen people who would be better than her right now, but I'm talking to them and nobody wants to challenge her because nobody... Okay, I'm going to be direct.
Yep.
God help me, you may never have me on the show again.
You don't even have to say it. We understand.
Nobody wants to knock out an African-American woman and be held responsible for that. And that is the truth. And that's something that maybe I'm going to be criticized when I walk off of here. But she's got such a strong position because of that. And here's the issue. Her favorability is still... She's the most unpopular vice president since Dan Quayle. Okay. And he was the most unpopular vice president since Aaron Burr.
Okay.
Luntz pulled a Burr.
No wonder he got so nervous and he paused, because that thing he said was true. Right? I know I'll never be asked back, but here's an innocuous statement.
Hey, I know an Algerian Olympic champion boxer that would love to knock out an African American.
Hey, and let me just say this to Frank Luntz. How am I supposed to trust you if I can't trust your hair? Okay? Just go fucking bald already, will you? Okay.
I was gonna say, hey Frank, get it through your thick wig. The Dem strategy is, I'm all you got.
I am watching this with morbid fascination. We are into William Gibson, Philip K. Dick territory with Kamala Harris. You are talking about a completely created avatar of a candidate that is all about signaling and image and connecting to cultural archetypes, and that's it. It's a bizarre experiment to take somebody like this who clearly is just empty and rather repulsive, as all of these videos show. She's a repulsive personality who's done horrible things to the communities the Democrats claim to care about. And yet, they flipped a switch. And that's it. And told people this is the one, and they just invested everything they want to see into her. And if you can make somebody president that way, without a single vote, God, I mean, okay, we haven't had a democracy for a long time, but now you're really into the late Roman imperial phase where they're still calling it a republic, and it's clearly an empire.
Do you know why Frank Lutz's famous thing he came up with was the phrase job creators? That's his claim to fame. He came up with job creators for rich cunts. If you're running a business correctly, you're not creating jobs. You're running as efficiently as possible. Slave owners are job creators. That's a job creator.
So here's Chuck Schumer announcing Kamala Harris becoming the nominee for the Democratic Party. Here we go.
So now that the process has played out.
The process has played out. It's not an election, it's a process. That's how you make cheese. That's how cheese is made. It's not how you pick a president. There's a process. Okay, here we go.
So now that the process has played out, from the grassroots bottom up,
the exact opposite happened. Ladies. The exact opposite happened. She was chosen by party bosses and the donor class and Wall Street and the military-industrial complex. Nobody chose her.
I thought he meant from from the bottom up, like a deep underground lizard people base.
So let's listen to him. Ready? You ready?
we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to.
All right, go ahead, talk amongst yourselves. Have your little press thing here. Jimmy, the process was successful. That's how this works. It was a grassroots thing, sort of, inside the White House, where it was decided that she's going to be president, and everyone's happy about it, right? Right? I don't hear you. Oh, this is not going to go well for you, Buster Brown.
Jimmy Carter had more enthusiasm than this guy. It's hard to tell if he's truly excited or just at that moment his catheter fell out.
Either way, we're going to Gerald Ford this broad into the White House.
Let's wrap this up. I got to put some cheese on raw hamburger meat on a grill.
I mean, there was absolutely no enthusiasm. He's like, I'm going to clap, but it's like he's not since we saw Jeb Bush, please clap. Have we had a moment like that? Let's watch it again.
So now that the process is played out, from the grassroots bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to. All right.
He sounds like he's bringing up the headliner at the Funny Bone on a Tuesday.
Look at that shit-eating grin on his face. For them, this is democracy. This is what this really exposes. This is why you'll have George Clooney talking about democracy. You'll have Rob Reiner talking about democracy. It is democracy for them. For about 500 people who are deciding who you get to vote for. We have a democracy.
If you believe the most unpopular vice president in the history of the United States became America's sweetheart in 2 weeks, congrats. You are the mark the mainstream media was looking for.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. I accept your congratulations.
If you believe she's as popular as the media is telling you, I bet you believe that Australia has the next world record holder for breakdancing.
Yes, they do. Thank you for acknowledging it. Thank you. Now, please put on a mask.
By the way, wood. We all thought that, right? Oh, don't get me started.
So Joe Biden actually admitted that he got forced out. Here's Joe Biden admitting he got forced out.
Oh.
He's haunting the interview, Jimmy. It's haunted.
Wait, which Biden is this? Is Biden like a mall Santa now? I know you're not Biden, you just work for him.
There he goes.
The polls we had showed that it was a neck and neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was...
I think it was a turkey neck and neck race, if you know what I'm talking about. Come on.
This looks like the Irishman.
It is.
He's the Irishman.
The polls we had showed that it was a neck and neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races. And I was concerned if I stayed in the race, that would be the topic. You'd be interviewing me about why did Nancy Pelosi say, why did so, and I thought it'd be a real distraction.
There's no way there's no way he would get through all that. There is no fucking way.
The best part for me is watching the reporter try to stay awake as Joe Biden is talking.
Well, he's looking at a guy with a green mocap mask on.
Even at his clearest, Kurt, Joe Biden sounds like he's talking in his sleep, conveying details of a dream. I was sitting with my grandma, and she was riding some kind of flying sofa. And then we started exchanging recipes.
You saw that debate. You saw the last ice cube in his skull melt on that debate.
Nancy,
I made the same faces as Biden while I was watching Biden on the debate.
Oh, there she is behind the scenes. That's perfect with the curtains.
Oh, look, there she is.
It's like the Wizard of Oz.
Here I am. I'm in control of everything.
Don't talk about my Paul.
Don't you better pray for my Paul.
Okay, so here she is. She's going to tell you what happened behind the scenes with Joe Biden.
I love him so much. I think he's been really a fantastic president of the United States. So I really wanted him to make a decision of a better campaign.
Okay, she wanted him to make the decision. That's like, hey, Grandpa, do you want to decide if you go into the old folks' home as we're packing your shit up?
Jimmy, do you think they called in Andrew Cuomo, like they brought him in like Hannibal Lecter to ask his advice? We gotta get rid of an old guy. It's just Cuomo with the fucking mask.
I thought she was going to say, you know, that I thought he had to make a decision, like a choice for me to abort his presidency full term.
I hereby nominate ice cream as my.
Here she goes.
Because they were not facing the fact of what was happening. Just a little background. I've never
his
been
pain.
that impressed with his political operation.
Biden's
She's like an old lady you talk to in the movie It. When she's all nice as, I was never that impressed. I love him.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I just had. They won the White House. Bravo. Right? But so my concern was, this ain't
Tales from the crypt.
and we have to make a decision for this to happen, and the president has to make the decision for that to happen. Let me just say, I won't say necessarily I knew what I was doing at that time. I knew what I was doing in the whole thing, not just that ship.
And what was that?
That Donald Trump would never set foot in the White House again.
So you have to wonder, how does Nancy Pelosi keep getting elected in San Francisco? And I think it's because she speaks in haikus. I was never impressed with his political operation. You meant to say he was too fucking old, right? That's what she meant to say. He was too fucking old, but he's 81 and Nancy Pelosi's 84, okay? And in her defense, lizard people age better.
And we have way better tits.
So here she's talking about the letter he wrote. Remember they tweeted out a letter where he's dropping out of the campaign, and here's she talks about it.
I didn't accept the letter as anything but a letter. I mean, there are some people who were unhappy with the letter. Let me say that some said that some people were unhappy with the letter. I'll put it in somebody else's mouth. Because it was I don't even know, it didn't sound like Joe Biden to me.
She said it didn't sound like Joe Biden wrote that letter. It sounded like it was written by me. I mean, George Clooney. I mean, fuck, what time is it? Look at the time. So who did write that letter? Well, I don't think it was actually Nancy Pelosi, because her hands were busy sticking a knife in Joe Biden's back.
That necklace is made out of the testicles of children. You know it. They got that.
It was a gift from Jim Carrey. Tom Hanks gave me this.
It really didn't. So, but
Okay, that's it. So this isn't the first primary that the Democrats have rigged. The Democrats, as my recent memory, they rigged the 2016 primary, as Donna Brazile, who was the chair of the DNC, admitted they did. Elizabeth Warren said on CNN that they rigged it. And then in 2020, remember in 2020, the first primary they would always have in Iowa? So they would always have it in Iowa. So they had this new app that would count votes. And it turns out Bernie Sanders won that primary, but all of a sudden the app couldn't count the votes, and they said Pete Buttigieg won. You remember that? So Pete Buttigieg announces he won the Iowa primary, and the next morning, he's walking out of wherever he is, and the reporters want to ask him, hey, how does it feel to be the winner of Iowa? But he knows that they cheated, and watch how he handles it. Watch this.
Was it premature to declare a victory?
How do you feel about Iowa?
How do you feel?
You said victorious last night. You think that's too early, or you feel like your numbers are going well?
Hey, Jimmy, he doesn't look pregnant.
For those of you who've never seen the horror film Smile, you just did. When I first saw this, I thought it was a promo for Ring 3. And if you could see, see the back of his head, oh, it's hard to see. Let's watch it again. It's hard to see, but he's got a dent in the back of his head.
How do you feel about Iowa? How do you feel? You said victorious last night. You think
That's because I put up a fight, Jimmy.
Jimmy, I heard he's not even gay.
That's where they plug him in, like in the Matrix. That's right in the back of his head.
You know, Jimmy, I know everybody calls J.D. Vance weird. That's weird.
That's weird. He walked like a fucking zombie as reporters are asking him questions about his victory.
Britney Spears handled questions better. I like that, by the way. Nancy Pelosi and me both think that's not the real Biden.
But seriously,
Was it premature to declare a victory?
This is
How do you
the-
feel about Iowa?
How do you feel?
You said victorious last night.
Keep walking.
The step for cake
Look at him.
wash.
That's the face you make when you fart in the grocery aisle. Or you just won a rigged primary. Yeah. And so Bernie Sanders just went on Theo Vaughn's podcast. Did you see that?
He's got the same glasses as Schumer, I just realized. The Chuck Schumer excitement look.
All right. you have to drag me into this every goddamn time. Every time we do something, you gotta drag me into it. All right, show the fucking clip.
So here they ask him, here we go.
You know, I ran in 16, I ran against Hillary Clinton, and I ran in 20.
Yeah, I remember, and I felt like you didn't get treated fairly, to be honest with you.
And that's what happens when you take on the establishment. So what happened is we won the first 3 primaries, and then the establishment got very, very nervous, and there were a whole lot of candidates in the Democratic primary. And they said, hey, it'd be a good idea if you all dropped out, that Joe Biden be the one candidate. People rallied around him.
And do they call? Is there a call that you get, and it's like you're not going to move forward? Is it just like news articles? Like how does the establishment?
Well, what happens
work?
is I won the popular vote in Iowa. I won the New Hampshire primary. I won the Nevada primary, and those were the first 3. And then front pages of the New York Times, Democratic establishment very nervous. Bernie Sanders could win the whole. We were doing very well in the polls, and I think behind the scenes, people thought there were like 15 different candidates. And they were splitting up the vote, and that's how I was not necessarily getting over 50%, I was getting more than other people, so I was on the way to victory. And they said, look, Bernie shouldn't be the candidate for a variety of reasons, we don't want him the candidate, drop out. And then on one day, a lot of people dropped out.
Except for Elizabeth Warren, which he leaves that part out of the story because he doesn't want to be called a sexist again, but that's exactly what happened. Everybody else dropped out except Elizabeth Warren to split the progressive vote, and then they all rallied behind Joe Biden, and he's still a fucking cuck because he won't tell you the truth about what happened.
Jimmy, they have way worse stuff on me than that.
And what did he do? He went on, and did he make those people who cheated him in 2016, in 2020, did he make them pay a price? Did he even extract any concessions from them for his endorsement? No, he didn't make them pay, he didn't call them out, he just endorsed them. That's what Bernie Sanders did, and that's why the country's in the place it is because motherfuckers who know better don't say anything and they fall in line like good little boys. That guy was filling stadiums. He could have told those people to get in the streets. He could have told those people to shut shit down like the truckers did in Canada. He could have said, let's make fucking a ruckus on the Democratic Party. Let's make them get rid of corporate money. Let's make them get rid of super delegates. Let's make them get rid of all this shit, or I ain't fucking endorsing them. And he didn't do any of it.
Jimmy, have you never been blackmailed before? It's called blackmail. It's real rough to deal with.
I have been falsely accused of a hashtag Me Too.
Number two?
Nice news skirt there, Jimmy.
What's that?
Nice news skirt, Jimmy.
Okay. So anyway, here, go ahead.
What's...
In my defense, fuck it. It's been moments past.
So he's got some more to say. Hang on.
It was Joe Biden and me, and Joe had a lot of support, and all these people came behind him.
Do you think that our election process is still democratic? Do you think it's still...
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Yes, I mean you get to vote, but no, it doesn't fucking matter who you vote for. So yeah, we have the veneer. We have the veneer of a democracy. But he's actually going to agree. Watch this. Watch what he says.
You want to run for office, can you? Yeah, you can. You've got a certain number of signatures. But if you're going to win, and I have 10 times more money than you do, I will beat you 95% of the times. Wow. I mean, that's a fact, right?
Right,
it's a
fact.
You'll beat me. Maybe if you're really an exceptional candidate and I'm a real idiot, you will beat me once in a while. But by and large, money people will win. So if you're asking me, are we a democracy? In one sense, we are. All right, you can run for office. You can raise your issues. On the other hand, in terms of who has the real power, money people do. And I use the term oligarchy. An oligarchy is a society where small numbers of very wealthy people control the economic and political life of the country. I think we are moving rapidly in that direction.
I like how he says we are moving. We've been there for the last 40 goddamn years. Not only do they own the country, but they own you.
This is what's really disgusting about Sanders. He proved a lot of his critics right. I'm sure a lot of people in this room were Sanders people at one time. And if you remember, the Hillbots would always come at you and they would always say, you know what, he's pretending to be a revolutionary. Everyone who knows him in Washington says he's just another politician. He's just like anybody else. All this revolution stuff is branding. And he made us all look like schmucks because that's exactly who he turned out to be. If you want to just run on progressive issues, fine. Don't say you're running a revolution if you're not running a revolution, because you have people out there in the snow in New Hampshire giving money they did not have. Our friend Nick Cruz at RBN quit his job. He quit his job to go campaign for Bernie. You don't play with people's lives like that if you don't mean it. If you don't mean that, you don't say revolution or you're a scumbag. This guy is a scumbag. I have no patience for him.
So watch what Theo Vaughn says back to that.
Yeah, I feel like to me, it feels like an almost privatized communism in a way.
Right. That's a very good point. It's an interesting way of looking at it.
So he agrees with Theo that it's privatized communism, meaning a handful of people running the whole goddamn country for their own interests, and they don't care about the citizenry. And he says that's absolutely right. And what does he do about it? Fucking nothing. He endorses the private communism, and he says you got to vote for Joe Biden and you got to vote for the Democrats. Why? Because Donald Trump, a real estate game show host, might become president. So we got to vote for fucking privatized communism. That's what he's actually saying.
Jimmy, that's
what he supports.
Wait, you don't want the best of both worlds? The best of all possibilities.
Bernie Sanders turned out to be Colonel Sanders, just another old character actor with a memorable voice selling you junk food dressed as a plantation owner. I'm going to ask you one more time. Try the new jalapeno dippos and the chipotle sauce. You know, after a long day of getting up and down off my knees servicing the establishment, I'm glad I have a Craftmatic bed. Primarily because it changes positions as often as I do, which is all the time now. Okay, that's what I think about Bernie Sanders. Okay.
Do you think that...
So here's what he thinks about Kamala Harris. Ready? Ready?
Do you think that Kamala Harris is the best person to run against Donald Trump right now?
Well, she is the person, and that's...
Boy, do you feel the excitement there? Hey, Bernie, is this the best movie of the summer? Well, it's a movie. Is this the best pizza you ever had in your life? Well, it's definitely pizza.
You know what I just realized, by the way, Jimmy? Because, by the way, Kamala is the correct way to say that name, but now that they need her to be black, they switched it to Kamala, and you're racist if you don't say it the black way. It's always been Kamala for every Pakistani and Indian person I've ever met in my life. Kamala, that's how you're supposed to say it. They want her to see more black, so you gotta go Kamala.
Well, I'd hate to run into you in a black barber shop. Well, here's what else he has. Here's what else he has to say about Kamala or Kamala.
Change probably, huh?
She'll be the Democratic candidate, and you know I've known Kamala for a number of years. Not best friends, but I've known her.
Are we best friends? No. Do I like her? Not particularly. Do I agree with her positions? Not so much. Does her husband sometimes corner me in a men's room and make me do things? Maybe.
There was a certain after-hours club in San Francisco where downtown Willie Brown, myself, and Kamala used to meet up in the bathroom. We won't talk about that here.
Nicely said. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to that magical moment where our guest has arrived, and everybody's excited, I'm sure. The most censored man in all of social media, the man who is he is like Kreskin in a soothsayer. Everything he says at some point comes true. He's about 10.5 million times more accurate than CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and New York Times. Let's hear it for the one and the only Alex Jones is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you see me, brother? Well, I want to be on with you, but
Alex, can you turn on your video? Do you know how to do?
You know, I've been trying to connect for a while, but I'm too stupid. Like you say, I make all the predictions, but I can't seem to do that. I've been trying to do it here for about 10 minutes. Sorry, I'm late.
Can you turn Alex on the monitor? Because I can't hear him. Can you turn him on?
All right.
My bad. You got me. I'm his son. My bad.
All right.
There he is.
What a build-up you gave me. It's not to be here.
Well, the crowd obviously hates you. But anyway, they love you here, Alex. Thank you so much for coming on. We love you here. The crowd loves you. I wanted to get your take. I just saw the new released body cam from Trump's assassination attempt. And did you see that where the one police officer was saying, aren't we all on the same frequency? I warned you there was a guy up here. How come nobody did anything? Let me just get your take on all that. What do you think actually happened at Trump's assassination?
Well, it was 100% a total stand down on record. We know that now. You don't have all these coincidences lining up like this. We've had the deep state openly saying they want to kill Trump. The fact is their patsy failed. So they are just in complete and absolute total panic mode right now and just don't know what to do. But yeah, you add it all together. You have the Secret Service deputy head, who's now the head. It turns out was in charge of never sending the actual security team that actually command and controls the Secret Service and the police. So they didn't send the brains for the operation. And then they left the roof completely open. He was running around for 90 minutes. And now all these new videos are coming out, not just stuff that came out the day it happened. People saying, hey, there's a guy on the roof. But now they're turning it. He was running around with a gun on the ground, not just a rangefinder. So this guy was totally protected. He was trained at a major Homeland Security training facility that trains Homeland Security. He was there 40 plus times. So yeah, when you have all these coincidences all lining up the same way, they're not a coincidence.
And so what do you make that they already burned his body?
Yeah, they cremated his body. And notice there were no press conferences about why there was a stand down. There was no press conferences about the gun that was used or where he went or any of it. Normally there's any kind of big event, there's a press conference that day, the next day, a week later, a month later. Just a total shutdown of info. And then the first 8 hours, the media, the controlled corporate media, was trying to act like that Trump wasn't even shot or wasn't grazed. was no discussion of the man that was killed, the others that were wounded. So this is what myself and Tucker Carlson have said for the last year plus before the assassination attempt, that with all the lawfare and the impeachments and the criminal charges and fake conviction and all of it, the next thing on the trajectory when none of it works is killing Trump.
So do you have any inside info on what happened with Biden and his reported medical emergency in Las Vegas?
Well, I was told, Charlie Kirk told the people that I know, like the day it happened, there had been a medical emergency, and then weeks later it came out that there was a medical emergency, and then Biden was flown to Delaware for 7-8 days, wasn't seen, and then now even Pelosi's covered her butt and said, well, I saw the letter from Biden, the resignation, it looked like it was from him. Well, it didn't even have a presidential seal, the signature was the same. So it looks to me, I mean, we speculate that they didn't give him the drugs normally on, or they slipped him something, or he had a real medical emergency, or he has medical problems, and then they just basically held him until he agreed. And when he showed up 7 days later, he kind of shuffled on to Air Force One in Delaware, and they said, well, why'd you stand down? Why are you giving up? And he said he didn't even agree to it. And now he's done interviews and said he was basically forced out by the Democratic Party. So, I mean, we can talk about Biden evidence of stealing the election all day long. You can still debate that, but you can't debate that Kamala Harris got as many votes in the primaries as Ronald McDonald. And so this is bigger than them stealing the nomination from, Bernie Sanders in 2016. This is 100% cut and dry. And as Naomi Wolf said on my show yesterday, this is an open coup in America. It doesn't matter what party you're in or who you're involved with. This is really the deep state doing all this. It's very, very dangerous.
So now, when Trump actually was president, it seems to me he didn't do many of the things he said he was going to do. He didn't give everybody health care he said he would. He didn't bring back jobs to America like he said he would. He didn't drain the swamp. In fact, what he did was he put them all in his goddamn cabinet, right? So, and he didn't pardon Snowden. He didn't pardon Julian Assange, and he didn't release the JFK files, and he didn't lock up Hillary Clinton or prosecute any of those people. He didn't do anything, he said. So what do you think if he becomes president, do you think that he's going to do any of those things in his second term?
Look, I'm not giving Trump a pass, but he's not from the Washington machine. He was open about how, as a major real estate owner, he gave money to both parties. And he was very, very ignorant and naive when he came in. Then these politicians and politicos lied to him and said that they were going to be loyal and do what he wanted, that they were actually that. So he pulled from the system. And I mean, I think now he's going to be different, but certainly Trump has major blind spots. He supported Operation Warp Speed, the poison shots, and all the rest of it. So I don't think Trump is some panacea here. But permanent Washington, the Republican and Democrat establishment does not like Trump. Because he's an outsider. Nixon had big problems, but the system got rid of him because he tried to be president. And so the permanent bureaucracy doesn't like presidents, they're actually presidents. They like puppets, like a Biden who doesn't even know what planet he's on. So they can do whatever they want and then just use a front man, kind of an empty suit as a placeholder. Now Kamala Harris is a perfect example of that. So I don't think people worships Trump. I didn't believe the whole Q thing, that he was invincible, and there's all these good guys in government. I think we're in the latter stage of the decay of an empire right now. And I do think Trump is better on cutting back on war than the Democrats and the neocons. So because of that, I overall support Trump.
So don't you think World War III, if it's going to break out, it's probably going to break out in the Middle East right now with Iran, Hezbollah, and Israel, Palestine. And Trump just gave a speech yesterday or today where he said he thinks we should expand Israel. Now, I remember watching videos of you after 9/11 saying the United States being joined at the hip with Israel is going to lead us into World War III, and here we are. So don't you think, even though Trump didn't start a war when he was president, which he's the only president in my lifetime that didn't, but aren't you afraid he's going to lead us into World War III in the Middle East because of his over-the-top rhetoric?
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Trump and his carte blanche support of Israel. I'm never an anti-Israel guy. I mean, I think it's just another corrupt government. And I certainly don't support Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran. I mean, it's all just, terrible. It's like just asking what porta potty I want to eat out of, I mean, I don't want to eat. If I'm shown 20 porta potties, and which one do you want to choose? I don't like any of them. I hate to use an analogy like that, but Trump's slavish support of Netanyahu is dangerous. And people say, well, wait, Alex is a big Israel supporter, but he also has criticized Israel a lot. No, I'm just not anti-Israel. I was thinking I'm not anti-America. I don't like the corrupt government we've got. I think Trump's better on Ukraine, but he has been slavish on this situation with the ongoing bombing of Gaza. So, I mean, I've been against that from day one. I mean, I said Israel can carpet bomb the whole place and maybe win, but it's a Pyrrhic victory because they're going to lose in public opinion. And again, Israel founded Hamas, and then you've got Israel standing down. Netanyahu is extremely unpopular. He's able to stay in there because of this war. And so I don't want to have World War III just so Netanyahu can stay in power. And I think we're right on the verge of it. So it's a dangerous situation.
Well, Alex, I wanted to ask you, do you have any inside info? They're ramping up their fear-mongering again about COVID and monkeypox. So do you have any other insight on any of the incoming deep state plans that we're in for?
Yeah, I mean, I do, because they always telegraph what they're going to do beforehand. And so they said we'll have another pandemic. So they're trying bird flu, monkeypox, any amount of fear they can for control. They want to pass the UN treaty and take control of our bodies and all the rest of it. And as bad as Trump was on COVID, he's been better on, saying you should have a right to not take the shots. And he was, against the lockdowns once we got into the middle of it. But yeah, I mean, so much of the inside info is just watching the establishment corporate media pre-program what's coming. But I was told last year by TSA and Border Patrol folks I talked to, they were told they were going to try to bring back a new pandemic and that whole hysteria. And so now they're trying it. The good news is people aren't buying into it. Again, NATO backed this incursion into Russia proper 12 days ago. That's insane. They're moving heavy weapons and sonic missiles up the border. I think that could be even a bigger trigger for World War III than Israel. So we've got twin threats going on there.
And so do you fear that if Trump becomes president and he goes to secure the border, he's going to do it with what Whitney Webb talks about, with surveillance and facial recognition? It's going to be an electronic wall instead of an actual wall, which is just going to mean mass surveillance for everybody. Do you fear that?
Yeah, I mean, Ron Paul always said when they build a wall, it's going to be to keep us in. But you already go to the airport and they try to make you face scan to get on an airplane. So this stuff's already here, and so I'm not saying we should capitulate to it, but we have to cut the incentives off to tell the world they can just come here for free when we're going bankrupt. And we have corporations want cheap labor, and you've got the different the different NGOs that are making the lion's share of the money off servicing all of these migrants. I mean, New York's going to spend $5 billion next year on these people. I mean, this is just completely insane. So it really is corporate Cloward and Piven to collapse the country. I wouldn't say it's really the communist Cloward and Piven. It's just big corporations are looting the nation, and just like they farm homeless people and never actually help them, but just siphon money off of the programs for them. That's the same thing we see happening with the border right now and all the human trafficking.
So, let me find it. Dave Smith tweeted out today that he thought it was a mistake for, he says, the problem with Trump calling the Democrats communists and Marxists, aside from being inaccurate and making him sound like a grandpa arguing in the 1940s, is the framing. He says between his position on Israel, COVID, and even his praising of the Secret Service, when Trump calls his opponents Marxists, he positions himself as the defender of the establishment, guarding against the radicals. That was never the appeal of Donald Trump. People supported him because he represented a repudiation of the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, and the corporate media. He was a giant middle finger to the establishment. So do you think it's
I think it's...
Go ahead.
I mean, I know where you're going. I think it's very fair to say this is a more establishment Trump than we saw 8 years ago or 4 years ago. And I think that's his advisors telling him to be more of an establishment Republican. And I don't think that's wise. I think he should be the bomb thrower politically, for the media quotes me on that, the term bomb thrower, meaning he should be the outsider, the populist, the maverick, which he never, as you say, completely delivered on, but the system sees him as that. And now he is definitely, he should be going after Kamala Harris and Biden for getting almost all the big corporate donations and all the big BlackRock money, and instead he is acting like they're Bernie Sanders, and some leftists at a university, and that's not who they are. I mean, they are military-industrial complex puppets. So the big appeal of Trump was being anti-war compared to them and going against the establishment. That's still the big appeal, that they've tried to put him in jail and take him off the ballot, kill him. But that is being outweighed in many ways by what you're saying. And I've tried to be a big Trump supporter, but I'm not loyal opposition or whatever. Where I just sit there trying to talk about him, but don't criticize him. And I mean, I really am concerned, and a lot of my listeners are concerned about Trump and the different turns he's made. And it seems since they almost killed him, that in ways he's even cut his rhetoric back when it comes to populism. So, but he's 78 years old. I'm surprised he's got the stamina to go through what he's gone through. I mean, he's still the maverick compared to the Democratic Party. I mean, and I think 10 years ago, you could say the Republican Party was as bad as the Democrats, blue bloods, establishment. But now the Democratic Party itself is just a psychotic kleptocracy that is a giant machine that's weaponized in the judiciary. And everything they say Trump's going to do when he gets in, persecuting people, they've already done. So they're declaring present danger. Silicon Valley, 90% supporting them. They're getting most of the big corporate donations. Trump has a few big donors, but nothing compared. And so because Trump still is backed by the populist movement and has some good instincts, I support him because the system's trying to kill him. But that said, I'm going to be a supporter so that I can put his feet to the fire on issues and, try to get better policies out of him.
Okay. All right. Well, Alex, I just want to say I appreciate you taking time out of your evening to share it with me and my audience. Let's hear it for Alex Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, buddy.
You can follow me, Real Alex Jones, on that. Real Alex Jones. God bless you. Love you.
Okay. Well, now I think we're going to make the switch over to Rumble, right? Is that what happens now? We're going to play some commercials as we switch over. Is that what's going to happen? Somebody, yes? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to take a few-minute break. So if you have to go to the bathroom or something, go to the bathroom. We'll be right back in about 5 minutes. Hey, I believe in having a substantial percentage of my financial future secured with gold and silver. That's why I decided to partner with our sponsor, Colonial Metals Group. They helped me set up a safe and secured self-directed IRA where I have access to my assets no matter what the stock market, or for that matter, what the government is doing. Let the team of experts at Colonial Metals Group help you protect your family's future. We've put together a special offer for our audience. Click on the link in the description below or call the special 800 number and you'll receive a safe and up to 10 grand in free silver. That's real. Up to, depending, but go find out. Go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Jimmy-Dore-Show or call 888-910-1419. Hey, if you knew that the coffee you drink daily has been tainted with pesticides and chemicals, sitting in bags for months, and probably has traces of mold, would you continue to drink it? I know I wouldn't. Most of the coffee you consume is exactly that, stale, flavorless, and full of harmful substances that can have a negative effect on your health. At Rumble 1775 Coffee, they do things a little differently. Our coffee is free from harmful substances and chemicals while being pure and rich in flavor. This is because our beans are sourced from high-altitude farms in Bolivia, roasted weekly in Miami, and delivered fresh to your doorstep. And as believers in freedom, buying from us helps fight back against the woke corporations. Taste the difference. Join this coffee revolution and brew rebellion with Rumble's 1775 coffee. Go to 1775coffee/Jimmy and use the code Jimmy right now and get 15% off your order. Hey, Rumble Time viewers. As you know, this live show is in partnership with Rumble, a leader in free speech and creator independence. Recently, they joined X to sue, that's Twitter. Recently, they joined Twitter to sue a cartel of advertisers and ad agencies who conspired to block ad revenue from going to certain platforms. It's funny that, Ford, General Motors, Coca-Cola, Downey, Boeing, all of them they'll all advertise on Fox News, but somehow they've been scared away from Rumble because somehow Rumble is too right wing for them. But Rumble has Glenn Greenwald on, Rumble has me on, Rumble has Russell Brand, Rumble has now they have even shitlib Rachel, what's her name? Crystal Ball. Yeah, shitlib Crystal Ball is now on Rumble. So what they're afraid of is free speech. They want advertisers to be afraid of free speech. Who wants them to be? CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, the people we compete against, MSNBC. They want them to be afraid of places like Rumble because we provide an alternative. They did the same thing to YouTube because when there's independent news, they want to suppress it. Now YouTube does suppress it for them. Rumble doesn't. So as a way to rally around these issues, Rumble recently launched Rumble Premium. That's an ad-free viewing experience with a ton of great perks. Dive straight into your favorite content, whether on mobile, desktop, or smart TV, and savor every uninterrupted second. Upgrade to Rumble Premium today and transform your entertainment experience. Subscribe at rumble.com/premium and help support free speech. Hello, everybody on Rumble. You make the jump. Thank you for making the jump. We're live in Chicago at the Ramova Theater. How's everybody doing? So Kamala Harris is not taking questions from the press, but she did take this question.
What's your favorite curse word?
I can't say.
Okay, we got any a little more I didn't hear.
What's your favorite curse word?
Okay.
What's your favorite curse word?
I can't say it.
So they asked her, what's her favorite curse word? Can you turn up a little?
What's your favorite curse word?
I can't say it. It starts with an M and it ends with
Mama.
So she can't say motherfucker, so I guess she really isn't black.
Oh, I didn't think of motherfucker.
What did you think of?
The N-word? But it's not a curse, it's a slur.
She said it starts with... Here, let's listen again.
What's your favorite curse word?
I can't say it. It starts with an M and it ends with What? Not ER.
What's your favorite curse word?
So it's motherfucker, as in, motherfucker, get your hands up against the wall. I think that's what she means. As in, that'll be 15 years, motherfucker. I think that's what she's talking about. Hey, I need some more motherfucking free labor, motherfucker. I think that's what she means. Hey, I'm gonna withhold evidence that would exonerate y'all motherfuckers. I think that's what she means.
You know what? I thought she got confused when they said, what's your favorite curse word? I think she thought they said, what's your favorite nickname? Motherfucker!
She likes the word motherfucker. Maybe she can get Samuel Jackson to answer questions about immigration for her. We know it. We know it's not cocksucker because that's a joke, people. Okay. So here, she doesn't have any policies on her website. If you go to her website, there's no policies. But here's what she will say that her campaign is for.
We know what we stand for. And that's a big part of this campaign. You know, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for.
What do you stand for?
We know what we stand for, and we stand for the people. And we stand for the dignity of work. And we stand for freedom. We stand for justice. We stand for equality.
We stand for sound bites. Kamala Harris brings the attitude to the platitude.
Brad Summer.
I don't want you to listen to what I'm saying. I just want you to hear how I'm saying it. But her job's going to be harder than Joe Biden's because I have to say nothing while you actually can understand my words. We know what we stand for, and that's a big part of this campaign. So don't tell anyone. Go ahead.
I love how Tim Walz is in the background learning the platform from this speech.
Oh, all right. We stand for people. Okay, got it. Write it down.
Here's her platform right here.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
Is she want to be president or is captain of the Enterprise? What is that chair?
Does she mean more meth and less fentanyl? Because
hey, you know what's not woke? Wearing 3-inch heels and a pantsuit, I think. Equality starts with not balancing your entire body on a centimeter of a stiletto. I'm just saying, promoting beauty standards like that can lead to osteoarthritis, shortening of the hip muscle, and chronic back breath. That's all. Mic drop. Here's Nick Cruz. He's going to tell you. Here's a black guy to tell you what Kamala Harris's real platform is.
Kamala Harris's economic policy is being written by BlackRock. Kamala Harris has chosen her economic advisors. And surprise, surprise, they worked at BlackRock. Once again, BlackRock is guaranteed to win another United States election. BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Boeing, Raytheon, these are the capitalist institutions and oligarchs that actually run this country. This is exactly why Kamala Harris has been very vague about her policy platform. She doesn't want people to know that BlackRock is writing it. Bernie Sanders and AOC are literally endorsing BlackRock economic policy. BlackRock directly funds and profit from war and genocide. So no wonder the Biden administration has been obsessed with starting and maintaining conflicts. BlackRock is already licking their lips at the prospect of rebuilding Ukraine. BlackRock is also directly arming, funding, and supporting the genocide of the Palestinians in Gaza. But you guys think Kamala Harris is going to stop that? Brian Dees, the economic advisor for Kamala Harris, also works in the Biden administration. Are you guys starting to see how the revolving door works? There is a direct revolving door of corruption between these capitalist institutions and their executives, then transitioning into working for government and crafting policy. And once their time in government is up, they return back to the private sector, take giant salaries as payment for doing their bidding. This is what the real deep state looks like. American democracy is completely cooked. And so many Americans don't even realize it yet.
Woo! Go, Nick.
Way to go, Nick.
And after listening to a black guy say that, tell you the truth about the oligarchy and how Kamala Harris serves it, along with Bernie Sanders, AOC, and everybody in government, Jesse Ventura came out and endorsed her. So now, I like Jesse Ventura. I've always liked Jesse Ventura. I mostly like it because he sounds like he's eating when he's talking. Doesn't he always sound like he's eating? Why do I want fluoride in my water? So here he is. He's going to tell you why he endorses Kamala Harris.
You even were.
By the way, it's time to play blackmail or MK Ultra. I want you to watch this clip of Jesse Ventura sounding 180 degrees from everything you've ever heard him say, and you have to guess, is it blackmail or is it MK Ultra? Here we go.
You were elected governor as a third-party candidate. Why are you supporting the Democratic ticket?
Well, why am I supporting it? I'm doing it for a selfish reason. I've been alive now, I'm 73.
I think it's because he just hates Hulk Hogan. But anyway. I ain't got time to research policy. Anyway.
I've been alive now, I'm 73 years old, so when you look, there's only one election every 4 years now. So I don't know how many more I'm going to see in my lifetime. I had the good fortune of seeing our first black American president, seeing him get elected, President Obama, and re-elected.
Really? That made you feel good to see Barack Obama elected president? And then he went on to do the bidding of Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, Big Pharma, pass a right-wing healthcare plan, kick 5.1 million families out of their homes. He dropped more bombs than George fucking Bush. He did Libya, turned it into a failed state, extended the Afghanistan war, then started bombing Syria. You fucking felt good about that?
No, Jimmy. Yeah. No, he said all the things you said on his conspiracy show that he had Alex Jones on.
I know.
Back in 2008, he said he did not feel good about that.
And that's why. Okay, so now here we go.
Now, my selfish reason is this. I don't want to die and not see a woman president.
But Jesse, what even is a woman? Nobody knows.
You might have had one.
And so just any woman, by the way. Not a woman of substance, somebody who's going to help the country and make it better. I don't care if she's a tool of the same motherfuckers that Joe Biden was a tool of, and Barack Obama, and George Bush, and Bill Clinton, and George Herbert Walker. But I don't give a fuck. She's got a vagina. That's all I care about. That sounds crazy. That sounds the opposite of what Jesse used to say. Okay, he's got more to say.
Jimmy, she was selected by a process. There was a process. I just like women. Before they called me the body, they called me Jesse the Poon Hound. I want to see some pushing up in that White House.
I think this is the opportunity for one to get the job. I think it's highly long overdue. If you look at how voting came about in America, white men could always vote. Then black men were included, or black people, and then finally women. So if you go in that
Why all the pictures of them pointing for Jesse to look at things? Did you see the picture?
Yeah, I don't know why they're showing
It's all Clinton, look at that, Jesse. And then George W., look at that.
Except this one. I want to look at your flower. It's beautiful. Where did you get this? It's a boutonniere. Are we going to prom together? Yes, we are, Jesse Ventura. You and me. We're going to go to Predator prom. Will you take this rose? Why is this the greatest photograph ever taken?
category, women deserve the opportunity now to be the commander-in-chief and to lead this country. After all, us men have screwed it up enough, haven't we?
So to be clear, though, you're not basing it on policies, you're just basing it on gender?
Dan Abrams can't believe it.
No, I'm basing it also on policy.
What policy? She hasn't announced a policy.
Vagina policy.
She hasn't listed one policy.
It's a policy of not releasing that tape of the thing I did.
I believe in a woman's right to make her own decisions about her health care. I'm hugely involved in...
Well, what about the Palestinian women who are being bombed right now? Do you care about their health care? There's a genocide that she's funding, and she's committed to keep funding because she already said she's not going to go for an arms embargo. So what about those 180,000 women and children that she's fucking slaughtering in Gaza? Does that... If you can't stand up against a fucking genocide, then what the fuck can you stand up against? You're supposed to be a soldier, not standing up for fucking slaughter.
Jimmy.
What the fuck did they do to Jesse Ventura? Did somebody put something in his protein powder to turn him into Rob Reiner?
You don't take protein powder and end up like Rob Reiner. That's not how that works.
Jimmy, I came up with a new game while I was looking at Dan Abrams' haggard face. It's called Ozempic face or adrenochrome withdrawal. Which is it? You don't look good.
Support of that. I also support the Constitution of the United States of America. And when I see a party that attacked the Constitution, injured 141 police officers,
So he's talking about January 6th. He's supposed to be calling out that as a fucking FBI deep state psyop that it is. That's the Jesse Ventura I know. Why don't you do that, Jesse? What the fuck happened to you? When did you turn into George Takei?
You know, this is a guy, Jesse Ventura, who moved to Mexico over the TSA being a thing. And now they're gonna elect a TSA bitch as president.
allowed a Confederate flag to be run through my capital.
Oh my God! A Confederate flag? That's racist. You know, do you know how many fucking brown people we've slaughtered underneath the American flag? Just in Iraq and Syria and Libya and Afghanistan for 20 fucking years, Somalia and Yemen. Don't give me your fucking bullshit about a Confederate flag.
And no one's ever apologized for it. And now they're giving me a presidential candidate who's a convicted sexual abuser. He's a convicted felon, and he's also a draft dodger from my war, the era of Vietnam. He's a rich white boy who got out of the draft because he's rich and white.
So, Jesse, okay, hang on.
So let's talk about that issue, JD.
So just for the record, if you get drafted into a bullshit illegal war, you're supposed to go. So if you don't go to Vietnam War, which was 100% bullshit fucking war, we were lied to about by 4 different presidents. That doesn't make you, that's the smart thing to do.
I didn't want to go to Canada.
Vance, as you know, did the Sunday morning show rounds this weekend. He was pressed on his accusations of, quote, stolen valor that he's levied at Tim Walz. You served in the military and during, as you say, the Vietnam War. I want to get your reaction, so let's listen. This is what one of the things Vance said.
criticized his retirement decision, and most importantly, Dana, I criticized his lying about his own record, okay? This is a guy who's captured on video saying, I carried a gun in war. He never went to war. I'm not criticizing Tim Walz's service. I'm criticizing the fact that he lied about his service for political gain.
What do you make of that?
I think it's shameful on the part of Vance. You don't criticize anybody about their service. If they were honorably discharged, they did the job they were asked to do. Tim Walz enlisted at 17 years of age into the National Guard, served 24 years, and they're complaining that he didn't deploy with his unit to Iraq? Well, here's a question that Mr. Vance ought to be asking. Why is a National Guard unit being sent to Iraq in the first place? Well, let's review how that happened. Well, that happened during the George Bush, Dick Cheney war with Iraq, the lies, no weapons of mass destruction, no ties to
But
Al-Qaeda,
that's not Trump and Vance.
Nothing to do with 9/11.
But that's not Trump
Wait a
and
minute.
Vance's fault.
So, wait a minute, let me finish. So they...
Let me finish.
Needed bodies. They could not get the bodies through a draft. That's political suicide. So George Bush signed an executive order using the National Guard. It's a good thing I didn't run for a second term because I would have refused to allow my National Guard. They are called the National Guard. That means they guard our nation. It doesn't mean you send them off to foreign countries. And this is a guy who had 24 years in. He's an E9. He's not going to go on deployment and be leading a patrol. Give me a break, Mr. Vance. What?
So, first of all,
it sounds like he's saying people should not go to fight unjust wars.
It sounds like that's what he's saying.
It sounds like that's what he's saying, huh?
Why do you say it was bad? Wait, he goes, it's too bad. It's good I didn't run because then I wouldn't have sent the National Guard. Isn't it bad he didn't run then?
I don't. He just got done calling Trump a rich white boy draft dodger for not deploying to Vietnam, but it's cool not to go to Iraq. Hey, I think both of those wars were evil and stupid, and good for those guys for dodging them. I just don't get why he thinks Nam was not a good war to dodge. I don't understand that.
Well, forgive me for having incongruent opinions about war.
Also, J.D. Vance didn't criticize him for not going. He criticized him for lying
That
and
he did
acting
go.
like he went.
That's what we're criticizing him for. It's called stolen valor. He didn't actually serve in the war zone. He went to fucking Italy. That's totally different.
By the way, J.D. Vance does look weird as shit. I mean, he looks fucking weird.
You're doing is shameful, and it's embarrassing to the United States Marine Corps. I served with a lot of Marines. Marines have great respect for themselves and respect for everybody. We had to go in ahead of the Marines to ensure they could get to shore safely and do their jobs. Everybody works together and does their job in the military, regardless of what it is. And I think it's shameful Mr. Vance would break a rule among veterans and criticize another veteran for his honorable service.
Thanks for watching. Go to join.
Look at him. He looks like the ghoul from Poltergeist 2. Well, child.
All I'm saying is that there was once upon a time, Jesse Ventura did a rally not far from here with Ralph Nader. Okay? Just keep that in mind. That's the Jesse Ventura that I will always remember and love, not the guy who's backing the establishment tool of the military-industrial complex and the deep state and Wall Street. That's not... Because remember what Jesse Ventura said, a vote is wasted when someone fails to vote their conscience. So...
I'm being selfish. I don't want to die without a clam in office.
So, I just wanted to show you this.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Say it with more feeling.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Can you
what
say?
we
Now make it your own. Just make it your own.
and see what we believe can be, unburdened by what has what
Now,
can be.
Say it sitting down.
Unburdened by what has been.
Now, can you say it in a way that distracts Bill Clinton from checking out the pussy behind the camera?
Can be unburdened by what has been.
Can you say it in a mask?
Can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Say it now like you're about to cry.
Who we can be, unburdened by who we have been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Now, say it like you just took your shoes off.
Where we can be, unburdened by where we have been, and unburdened by where we are right now. What can be.
Say it like in a mask again.
Unburdened by what has been. What can be.
Say it like you're drunk.
Unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been.
What can be
Now yell it.
unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened by what has been, believing in what can be.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
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 What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened
Two
by
masks.
what has been.
What can be, what should be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. See what can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. Unburdened by what has been and knowing what can be. Have a sense of vision about what can be unburdened by what has been. To see what can be unburdened by what has been. What can be
Everybody.
unburdened by what has
This
been.
calls for a Venn diagram.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Where we can be unburdened by where we've been. What was possible unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be.
Stop this!
Okay.
What is going on? Jimmy!
Jimmy, I think she's starting to make a lot of sense, man. I mean, it's starting to come together for me. It's really starting to, gel.
You know how you can repeat a word over and over until it doesn't make any sense? This didn't make sense the first fucking time she said it.
She's like the new what's up?
That is the point with Kamala. Kamala is something they've been working towards since Eisenhower. To get a president that doesn't even have the illusion that they run the military. That is the point of Kamala. The last person to try to really run the military was Kennedy. And nobody ever really tried again until, frankly, Trump. That is really their issue with Trump. He gave them their tax cuts. He did all that, right? So what's the real issue? Is it the tweets? It's not the tweets. It's the military. It's the military. It's that he did not do everything they wanted him to do with the military. Why? As soon as Hillary lost, they convened a meeting in the Hamptons and rallied around Kamala Harris. Why did they want her that bad? Then in 2020, they run her, she's repulsive. She's repulsive. Now, according to, we interviewed Caleb Maupin, the original schedule for the DNC in 2020 had a slot for VP and for Kamala Harris. Biden did not want her. Why did they lean so hard on someone so repulsive she couldn't even make it to Iowa? Because she is what they have always dreamed of, a puppet, a complete puppet who has no illusion of being in charge. And they got her. They got her. Nobody would vote for her, and she's still on the verge of becoming the president. That is how much control you actually have over this government. With not one vote, just as a brand, selling her as a brand, they're about to make her the president. All this woke stuff we've been talking about tonight, what Jesse's talking about, they've been softening the public up for that for decades, making them stupid, making them think that woke versus anti-woke, all this culture shit. Oh, you can be fat if you want. That's all aimed at making you so stupid that Jesse can get up there and say to you, yeah, I've always dreamed of seeing a woman in the White House. And that's supposed to make some kind of sense to you. That was the whole point. Kamala is the end game of a psyop that's been run on the American public for decades.
Point of counterpoint. Please, no applause. Point of counterpoint. Please, no loud clapping, jazz hands. I think what Kamala is trying to say is we must stop dwelling on the blowjobs we gave in the past and look forward to the blowjobs we will give and can give and are giving.
You know, I just think she's, trying to be an actress. Like, she studied Meisner, The Method, Adler, but she's still not believable.
No. Well, here's what the Babylon Bee says. After 2 weeks with Kamala, Tim Walz announced he has signed back up with the National Guard and requested deployment to Iraq.
That's a misinformation. Come on.
That's the Babylon
How dare you, Jimmy? I don't even know if there's a war going on there, but I'm willing to go. Wow, wow, wow. That's my catchphrase that doesn't exist in real life. Here we go.
Yeah. So I don't have time for James Carville. I got to get going. But I'll play it anyway. Here we go.
It's turducken time.
Is this the new Army recruiting slogan?
Oh, it's 9:49.
Is this going to be the new military recruiting slogan?
Governor Tim has called them weird, and
so he's upset that people are calling Tim Walz Tampon Tim, and this is what he says.
that doesn't nearly describe this. So I have a message to Jesse and the whole freak show. Is why don't you take a tampon and shove it right up your ass? Because that's where it goes, right up your ass. Or maybe you could stick it in your mouth. Maybe you could take a used one and stick it in your mouth and suck on it. Because that's what you do.
And then send me the video.
Thank you.
Tell me how much you like it. Breathe real hard over the phone when you tell me.
That's funny because the James Carville rant is a lot like that time of the month, isn't it? Both are painful, they have mood swings, and there's a hole that really should be plugged.
By the way, he had that window open to let the hurricane in if it wanted to come in.
All right, we gotta move on. Anyway.
What? Where was this?
That's like wearing a condom on your thumb.
It's Jethro Tull.
You should put a mask on the end of the flute.
All right, Hey, people forget that Tucker Carlson used to host a show on MSNBC, and Rachel Maddow was frequently a guest on his show, and they were pals.
They're the same hair.
They're the same person.
And so here's what I
That's
say.
my conspiracy theory. They're
What
the
is
same.
happening?
I just know that day at MSNBC, they were like, we got good news and bad news. The good news is we finally got a hairdresser for the green room. The bad news is she only knows one haircut. Ladies parted on the left, guys parted on the right.
Left part, right part. That's a good political show.
We have all. I got infected about 2 weeks ago. It was my third infection, and I have been vaccinated and boosted a total of 6 times.
What does that tell you?
He's bragging that he got 6 vaccinations and he got sick from that virus 3 times. Hey, the alternator in my car died 2 weeks ago for the 3rd time in 6 months. So I'm going to take it back to the same mechanic. Imagine getting vaccinated for polio and then getting polio 3 fucking times and thinking, wow, this is really working. All right, here we go.
He took the real vaccine?
Hey, if you have a chance to meet Dr. Fauci, you should stay away from him because there's a 50-50 chance that motherfucker has COVID. He's had COVID so many times, when I just see him on TV, I sanitize my hands. That's all. Okay. I don't have time for this, but we gotta go. Oh, watch this.
An Italian man is believed to be the first patient diagnosed with monkeypox, COVID-19, and HIV all at the same time.
That was a secret!
Kurt
How dare you
Metzger.
play that?
That was a hell of a weekend.
We made a pact! You'll never be invited back to Bohemian Grove now.
The offense.
Oh, by the way, did you know that in the UK they're going to start locking people up for retweets?
Finally!
If they incite racial violence? Do you think I'm kidding? Let's listen.
The offence of incitement to racial
Right.
hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them.
This is what we do.
Let me be honest with you. If I was a migrant in the UK, that'd be the first motherfucker I would mug, okay? What did you want to say, Mike?
Well, you'd go to jail for saying that in the UK. I mean, if even saying that on stage, you'd be, we would have to arrest you because that incites hatred against police officers.
So they have a lady who's going to look over the social media in the UK, and that's her. She's the lady.
Nice.
You know,
Tig Notaro.
you know, the thing that stands out to me, Jimmy, is she's got great teeth for a British person.
Yeah,
That's very suspicious.
All right, so this is the question. All right, so you're going to go after people for spreading hate and targeted discrimination. They have an MP there who happens to be a baroness. She called for a curfew for men after 6 because they can't control themselves. Is she going to get arrested? When Ibram Kendi tweets out the only cure for past discrimination is present discrimination, is he going to get arrested? When Robin DiAngelo tweets out that white people are irredeemably racist, is she going to get arrested? That sounds like you're stirring up hatred towards particular groups to me. If that's the standard, then okay, you got a lot of people you need to lock up.
Wait a minute. Are you absolutely sure this isn't just a new Netflix non-binary comedian? This is like a comedy special. Look at that hair.
I think her hair is spiked that high. I think that's what's called her arresting bitch face.
What wasn't she the bassist in Joy Division?
I think the reason her hair is spiked so high is so she can meet the police height requirement.
I just want to know why everybody named Rachel is a dick.
All right, we got to move on. I have so much more shit. I wanted to show you Stephen Colbert said CNN was objective, and they laughed at him. But I don't have time. I don't have time for this.
American.
So I just want to show you this.
American capital and expertise and standards to Africa, so that we can keep exploiting, so that we can exploring where we can get these.
Did you hear him?
Am I in The Simpsons?
I actually thought I was hearing that he's trying to. Did I say exploit? I meant employ them like slaves. That's what I mean. Let's listen again.
American capital and expertise and standards to Africa, so that we can keep exploiting, so that we can exploring where we can get these minerals.
We want Africa to have salary, slavery. I don't know what I'm fucking saying. Hey, you know the old saying, Black Lives Matter, unless they live on top of some fucking minerals we want. Am I right? Come on. So now this is a video from WGN. Remember WGN, my favorite? And they brought on an Arab woman who has a fashion blog. And this is in the morning. This is like at 7 in the morning. And I just want you to enjoy this.
Since Iran's Cultural Revolution in 1979, Iranian women covered by black chadors and hijabs have become the stereotypical image of the country's religious and political identity. But now women in the Middle East and in the U.S. are using their clothes as a way to express themselves and their political beliefs in bold new ways.
Fashion blogger Hoda Katabi uses fashion to bridge that gap between the U.S. and the Middle East with her popular fashion blog. Oh boy, say it for me.
Juju Azad.
And her book, Tehran Street Style. She joins us now. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So you are an Iranian American that grew up in Oklahoma.
Yes.
How'd that go?
You're Iranian and you grew up in Oklahoma. Ha ha! They're racist down there. Ha 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 ha! Why the fuck?
Fortunately, it was quite the experience. Definitely, I think when I first started wearing the hijab or headscarf in 6th grade, that was easily the worst year of my life because Oklahoma is a very homogeneously white and conservative state, and so I was physically assaulted. People tried to pull off my hijab. It was basically like several years of trauma that I basically had to go through. And for me, that really led into where I kind of am today and made me look about fashion in different ways, and the ways that how we dress really impacts the way that people engage with us. So if I wore a scarf around my neck, I probably wouldn't have gotten punched in the face.
But even today in, let's say, more mainstream areas, you still have people who have a view of what you are and what you're about based on what you're wearing. How would you describe that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that I think anti-Muslim racism in this country is beyond sort of the individual bias against each other. It really has to do with we live in a system and a structure that actually profits from violence against Muslims. So when we look at where a lot of anti-Muslim propaganda is coming from, we can see actually weapons manufacturers are invested in basically perpetuating anti-Muslim bias, surveillance companies, and even like countries like Israel, which actually profit from dehumanization of Muslims, are all part of this larger system that creates this individual bias that affects people on the individual level.
I'm curious, as a fashion blogger, how you think fashion influences all of this. So we were looking back at some pictures in Iran and how cosmopolitan some of the major cities were back before 1979, the revolution. I think we have some of those pictures here. Do you think you would like to see Iran go back to that before women were wearing hijabs, or would you like to be meeting somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, I think these photos being seen out of context is always really decontextualizing what actually was taking place in the country. So the people who dressed in the sort of Western dress that we're seeing now are actually a very minority group of people. They were upper class people. So if you wore a hijab, there's actually a period of mandatory unveiling where someone could actually pull the hijab off of you. So it was an incredibly violent time and very intolerant. But we kind of see these images of it as nostalgia of like, oh, we want to go back to this time, but we have to understand that this isn't actually how the majority of Iranians live. So actually images of like miniskirts of Afghanistani women were shown to Trump earlier this month as an excuse for why the U.S. should keep troops on the ground, because, oh, we should like go back to the time where Muslim women or Afghan women were wearing miniskirts, but we don't understand that if we look at education levels, you know, like education of women in Iran right now greatly exceeds what it was back during this time when women were wearing miniskirts. So if we want to talk about women's rights, let's talk about more like their social economic status rather than just what they're wearing.
Let's talk about...
So I think she's making some good points. This doesn't sit well with the male host. And watch what he says next. Ready? Are you ready for this?
Rather than just what they're wearing.
Let's talk about nuclear weapons.
What the fuck?
Bitch, I worked my way up from weather. You are not taking this away from me.
Hold on, Oppenheimer. Before we split the atom, let's run this past a fashion blogger. Okay.
Our viewers, some of our viewers may say, we cannot trust Iran. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think we can trust this country. I mean, what has this country done to the majority?
Wow. Jimmy, she's very different than the Hoda Kotb that worked with Kathy Lee.
What has this country done to the majority of the countries in the Middle East? You know, like, I don't think Iran's having nuclear weapons. I'm a pacifist. I don't believe in violence. But also, when we look at the legacy of imperialism and colonization in the Middle East, and we see the legacy of this country and all of the violence that it has not only created, but also created the capacity for. A lot of these weapons in the Middle East are completely brought in by the United States.
A lot of Americans might take offense to that. You're an American. You don't sound like an American when you say that. You know what I mean?
That's because I've read, you know, and I think...
Did you hear what she said? A lot of Americans are going to take offense to that. You don't sound like an American. She goes, yeah, that's because I've read.
Wait, what? That's because I've read, you know, and I think that it's really important that we look beyond sort of these really simple narratives that we're told, whether it's about Muslim women, whether it's about the legacy of this country, and knowing that this country literally was built on the backs of black slaves and after the genocide of indigenous people. And I think there's a lot that we can be proud about, but I think that we shouldn't let that sort of blindside us for the realities of the situation.
Well, you can check out Hoda's blog at Juju's.
Look at the guy!
So we're getting ready to go to war with Iran, which is why I thought it was important to show that, and shows how the news fucking morons treat somebody from Iran, who we just got done decimating the country next to it, Iraq, killing 1 million people, displacing another 1 million. We turned Libya, the most successful state in all of Africa, into a failed fucking state. We did the same thing in Syria, Afghanistan for 20 years. We're doing it in Ukraine, and we're getting ready to do it in Lebanon and Iran. And I just want to remind everybody that all wars are bullshit. 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 Stand with me. All wars are bullshit. 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 Especially the next one is the most bullshit. Thank you for coming out. I hope you had a good time tonight. Thanks for Russell Dobler, Steph Savarano, Mike McCrae, Kurt Metzger, and everybody here at the Ramova Theater. I love you, Chicago. I'll see you next year.
Thank you, Coach.